It's a sweltering afternoon. You're standing in a long line, and the person next to you is holding a perfectly scooped ice cream cone. For a brief split second, you feel an intense, visceral urge to just reach out and snatch it. But you stop yourself. Almost instantly, a logical inner voice overrides that impulse, reminding you that there are better ways to get a snack. That quick moment of hesitation feels like a simple choice, but to Sigmund Freud, it was evidence of a massive, lifelong psychological battle happening beneath the surface of your thoughts. To understand Freud's psychoanalytic theory, we look at these two pillars. There is the topographical model, which describes the different levels of the mind, and the structural model, which defines the specific parts of our personality. Grasping how these two systems work in tandem defines how we navigate every desire and every social boundary we encounter throughout our lives. Let's start with that first pillar. Freud famously compared the human mind to an iceberg, divided into 3 distinct levels. The tiny tip above the water is your conscious mind, holding your active thoughts. Just beneath the surface is the preconscious, holding easily retrieved information. But the vast majority is the unconscious. This hidden 90% contains deep-seated fears and hidden desires. Even though we can't see or access this massive underwater section, it exerts a constant pull on the decisions we make in the daylight. This brings us to the second pillar, our personality. This illustration shows the 3 parts of our psyche as an active tug-of-war happening within that iceberg. First is the id, often pictured as the devil on your shoulder. As this graphic suggests, the id is like a hungry infant. It follows the pleasure principle, demanding immediate satisfaction for every instinct and urge. Pulling the other way is the superego, or the angel. Driven by the morality principle, it acts as a strict judge, constantly measuring our actions against the rules of society and the ideals we were taught. The ego is the middleman caught between them. It operates on the reality principle, acting as a referee that tries to find a practical compromise, like deciding to wait your turn and buy the ice cream instead of taking it. A stable personality depends on the ego's ability to manage these clashing demands without letting either the id or the superego take total control. Freud believed the balance of this inner battle is decided long before we become adults, tracing back to our very first years of life. He outlined this process through 5 stages of development: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. If you're studying for an exam, you can memorize the order easily with this Hindi mnemonic, O, A, Pa, La, G. Each sound corresponds to the next step on the staircase. Freud theorized that if we face extreme stress or get stuck at one of these levels, that tension stays with us. A hurdle during the earliest stages might leave an adult struggling with impulsive urges, while a later disruption might create an inner critic that is constantly demanding perfection. When we combine these 2 pillars, we see why our desires can feel so mysterious. The id lives entirely in those dark depths of the unconscious, constantly pushing upward for attention. Your ego stays at the tip of the iceberg in the conscious mind, constantly reaching down to manage those urges while trying to keep a calm, composed face for the outside world. This hidden friction is why our behavior feels so complex and difficult to predict. We are always navigating a private negotiation beneath the surface. Let's hit the 3 key takeaways from the exam booster. First, the iceberg. Conscious mind is 10%, unconscious is 90%. Second, the ego is the referee, balancing the primal id and the superego. Third, early years matter. Childhood experiences dictate our adult personality. The next time you choose a patient compromise over a sudden impulse, remember that your inner referee is working hard. Freud would say you're doing a great job managing the machinery of your mind.